I'm trying to understand whether or not we care about how they see us.
We present to you a Rome Productions.
I ran across this TikTok video concerning blackness, and let's just watch the video.
Hey, so-called African Americans or black people, does this picture speak anything to you? Or what about this one? Now, if those two pictures didn't speak to you, then I know this one has to. This is all colors in one, otherwise no color at all. But this is what we call ourselves. We don't like to be called the actual name of this, but we still want to call ourselves this. It's a problem with you being called a Negro, but you're perfectly fine with you being called black, a Negro. So just let me tell you this. Black was the very last thing that we were called. And just like black is no color, if you classify as black, they do not see you as a human. And who is they? Well, the people who run the world. And this is why us black people are on the lowest pedestal in the whole entire world. And this is just one reason why we gotta stop calling ourselves black.
Here's the thing, right? And you can see based upon his name, he is a Hebrew Israelite. Now, I was going to take it into a whole nother lane where I was going to talk about how blackness isn't a representation of evilness or being dead. It's actually a representation of the beginning and the original, because he mentioned how it's all colors in one. With that being said, being black and identifying with the terminology black in a metaphysical, in a alchemist perspective, you understand that you are the original people. You are 9 ether beings, triple blackness. So when you represent yourself as being black, from a metaphysical and a alchemist perspective, you are the original. So when you are black people, it's a representation of you are the original people. But here, we're dealing with the basis of identity. And as we understand, black people have lost their knowledge of self. They have lost their identity because it was taken away from them during slavery. So now you have this identity crisis in America where you have black people that don't know what and who to identify with. Some want to be Israelites, some want to be Nubian, some want to be pro-black, some want to be Pan-African, some want to be Islam, so on and so forth. But they don't know internally what to identify with because it was taken away from them. They don't know their tribe, they don't know their actual, their mother tongue. You know, they don't know where they came from. They don't particularly know who they are, so they have to make an identity for themselves. When you look at it from a occultic perspective, that's what you are supposed to do, is create an identity for yourself. So, concerning the whole basis here, if identifying with black won't make the cut for the world, if identifying with being black is what's going to keep you at the bottom of the the bottom of the barrel, or the bottom of the pedestal, or whatever the case is, how is identifying as a Israelite going to do you any better? How is identifying as a Moor going to do you any better? ADOS, Aboriginal, so on and so forth. It's not about what you identify with, it's how you cooperate yourself. Take LGBT for an example. Now you can make fun of their terminology and their names and their labels all you want, but nonetheless they created an identity for themselves and they created a movement for themselves, and as a result of that, now they have controlled certain avenues or certain outlets of media to the point where you cannot talk to them a certain type of way, you cannot speak about them a certain type of way. Despite whatever they identify with, you can say it is as confusing as it wants to be. You can say it's as abnormal as it wants to be. You can say that this doesn't need to be said or talked about to our kids, so on and so forth. I can even agree with you on that. Nonetheless, we have to understand this strategic rhetoric that they continue to push in the media, and this strategy that they continue to push in other outlets and in other ways as well. And they have gotten this far progressively because of the way that they cooperate, because of the way that they conduct themselves and move. Now, if you want to have respect for yourselves, I would say individually, you have to do better for yourself, because trying to grab us as a whole is not going to do it. Now, you may have a good few hundred, few thousand, and y'all might can create a movement for y'all. But I think people have to come to an understanding that trying to save the masses of black people is just not going to be. It's just not. It's not a real thing. It's not going to solve your problem, and it's not going to solve the problem of black people. It doesn't matter what you identify with. It's your character. You can identify, you can create a word for all I care. But your basis or your motive for creating your own identity or identifying with being black should have nothing to do with them. It should have nothing to do with them. It should have to do with who you are. Because once you have knowledge of self, you could care less what they think of you. You could care less as whatever you identify with, whether or not they're going to like it or whether or not they're going to see you as such. And identifying as black does it, despite whatever he said in this video, it is not going to devalue you or demean you. Now, identifying as people of color is demeaning. Identifying as a minority is demeaning. Saying that you are under white supremacy is demeaning, and I understand the terminology and label of white supremacy. I've studied Dr. Neely Fuller and I've studied Dr. Francis Curtis Welsing. But when you get into the basis of, calling the white man your master, and you call yourself a slave and a field Negro, this system is bigger than that. When you're dealing with the elites and when you're dealing with the way that they cooperate and operate things in this world, is way bigger than the field Negro and the master. You have to get out of that mindset. It's bigger than that. We're talking about a global system. We're talking about a global system that operates and cooperates in a certain type of manner, where they control the masses of people, not just black, but white, Asian, Hispanic, so on and so forth. Okay? But share your thoughts in the comment section below, considering the whole matters at hand. Alright, make sure you like the video. I'm going to give you time right now to like the video. It helps out with the algorithm and gets this video to other people. Alright, so make sure you like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share this video with other people. Until next time, I'm Tyrone, and I am out.
Me, myself, and I ride it dolo, hit me up, might not reply. Feeling focused, got my optics on the light. Feel on the prize, you come for mine. Go suicide, I pay the price. Hey, just me, myself, and I ride it dolo, hit me up, might not reply. Feeling focused, got my optics on the light. Feel on the prize, you come for mine. Go suicide, I pay the price. Hey.